Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji ki jai. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Just wanted to thank you all so much for being here. Such a wonderful, ecstatic morning program together. And I wanted to welcome Paramakaruna Prabhu, but I think maybe he stepped out, and thank him for the wonderful kirtan. He's just visiting shortly on his book distribution journeys. Came to pick up some books because he was running low on books. So thank you all so much for being here. It's so inspiring to be with you all together in front of the deities in the morning, doing Prabhupada's Guru Puja together. So thank you so much for being here. Jai. Shortly we'll have class by His Grace Dharma Prabhu. Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji ki jai. Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class, Saturday. Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji ki. Srila Prabhupada ki. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivada Dari Thank you. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivada Dari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivada Dhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivada Dhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Itagora Premanande. Thanks, Prabhu. Oh, very nice, yes. I was thinking to go buy a couple more. They go through. They go through them so fast. We need to make some bamboo ones. They'll last forever, right? Thank you, Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Spotless Purana, Canto 7, Chapter 5, Text 33. So I think, are we going to go around, everybody read? Yeah, okay. Do we have another microphone, or we just read out loud? Oh, we're ready. Jai.
After Prahlad Maharaj had spoken in this way and become silent, Hiranyakashipu, blinded by anger, threw him off his lap and onto the ground.
Indignant and angry, his reddish eyes like molten copper, Hiranyakashipu said to his servants, O demons, take this boy away from me. He deserves to be killed. Kill him as soon as possible.
Although Prahlada is 35, this boy Prahlada is the killer of my brother, for he has given up his family to engage in the devotional services of the enemy. Lord Vishnu is like a menial servant.
Although Prahlad is only 5 years old, even at this young age, he has given up his affectionate relationship with his father and mother. Therefore, he is certainly untrustworthy. Indeed, it is not at all believable that he will behave well toward Vishnu.
Although a medical herb being born in the forest does not belong to the same category as a man, if beneficial, it is kept very carefully. Similarly, if someone outside one's family is favorable, he should be given protection like a son. On the other hand, if a limb of one's body is poisoned by disease, it must be amputated so that the rest of the body may live happily. Similarly, even one's own son, if unfavorable, must be rejected, although born of one's own body.
Just as uncontrolled senses are the enemies of all yogis engaged in advancing in spiritual life, this Prahlad, who appears to be a friend, is an enemy because I cannot control him. Therefore, this enemy, whether eating, sitting, or sleeping, must be killed by all means.
The demons, Rakshasas, the servants of Hiranyakashipu, thus began striking the tender parts of Prahlad Maharaj's body with their tridents. The demon all had fearful faces, sharp teeth, and reddish coppery beards and hair, and they appeared extremely threatening, making a tumultuous sound, shouting, "Chop him up, pierce him." They began striking Prahlad Maharaj, who sat silently, meditating upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Even though a person who has no assets in pious activities performs some good deed, it will have no result. Thus the weapons of the demons have no tangible effects upon Prahlad Maharaj because he was a devotee, undisturbed by material conditions and fully engaged in meditating upon and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unchangeable, who cannot be realized by the material senses, and who is the soul of the entire universe.
My dear King Yudhishthira, when all the attempts of the demons to kill Prahlad Maharaj was futile, the king of the demons, Hiranyakashipu, being most fearful, began contriving other means to kill him.
Hiranyakashipu could not kill his son by throwing him beneath the feet of big elephants, throwing him among huge, fearful snakes, employing destructive spells, hurling him from the top of a hill, conjuring up illusory tricks, administering poison, starving him, exposing him to severe cold, winds, fire, and water, or throwing heavy stones to crush him. When Hiranyakashipu found that he could not in any way harm Prahlad, who was completely sinless, he was in great anxiety about what to do next.
We all know this story, but it's so hard to read it again, isn't it, each time? To read the details of how horrible 5 years old, and Prahlad was tolerating this. Okay, thanks everybody. We're going to go back to text number 41, and we're going to read that, and then we'll talk about that. Do we have that? Okay. Pare Brahmani andesye Bhagavati Akil Atmani Yuktatmani Afala Asan Apunyasyeva sat kriyaha. Please repeat. Hare Brahmanya Nirdeshe Bhagavati Akramani Yuktatmani Afalasam Apunya Seva Satkilha Hare Brahmanya Nirdeshe Bhagavat Mani Yuktatmani Apapasam Apunyasyeva Satkriya. So we'll all read the word to word together. Pare, in the Supreme, Brahmani, absolute, Anirdeshye, who is not perceivable by the senses, Bhagavati, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Akila Atmani, the super soul of everyone, Yukta Atmani, on whose mind was engaged, Pralad, Afalaha, without effect, Asam, where, Apunyasya, of a person who has no assets in pious activities, Eva, like, Satkriya, good activities like the performance of sacrifices or austerities. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Even though a person who has no assets in pious activities performs some good deed, it will have no result. Thus the weapons of the demons had no tangible effects upon Prahlad Maharaj, because he was a devotee, undisturbed by material conditions, and fully engaged in meditating upon and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is unchangeable, who cannot be realized by the material senses, and who is the soul of the entire universe. Purport. Prahlad Maharaj was constantly and fully engaged in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is said, Govinda Parimarambitaha, Prahlad Maharaj engaged himself always in meditation, and thus he was protected by Govinda. Just as a small child on the lap of his father or mother is fully protected, a devotee in all conditions is protected by the Supreme Lord. Does this mean that when Prahlad Maharaj was attacked by the demons, the Rakshasas, Govinda was also attacked by the demons? This is not possible. There have been many attempts by the demons to hurt or kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he cannot be injured by any material means, because he is always in transcendence. Therefore the words Pare Brahmani are used here. The demons, the Rakshasas, can neither see nor touch the Supreme Lord, although they may superficially think that they are striking the Lord's transcendental body with their material weapons. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described in this verse as Anirdeshye. We cannot understand him to be in a particular place, for he is all-pervasive. Moreover, he is Akili Atma, the active principle of everything, even material weapons. Those who cannot understand the position of the Lord are unfortunate. They may think that they can kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotee, but all their attempts will be futile. The Lord knows how to deal with them. Hamaganam Tirandasya Jananjanan Sakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shapitam Jena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Didanti Sva Badantikam. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master is opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances to his lotus feet. Vanchakalpadrubhaischa, Kripasinivasavacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhar, Shivasari, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 5 years old. Do y'all think you could have tolerated such behavior at 5 years old? Prahlad had a little advantage, right? He'd been instructed by who? Narada Muni, right, when he was still in the womb of his mother. And so Prahlad had this benefit. He could remember that even after he was born. So he was a born devotee, right? We have some of those here, right now, right? Born devotees, born in the movement. And I wasn't, so I can identify more with Hiranyakashipu and the Rakshasas. But this is an amazing pastime, and it's very dear to the devotees. The devotees, we're all in a lot of anxiety, right? The material world is a loathsome place. It's difficult. And so we want to have, we want to feel, safe. That's really a lot of what our efforts are about. And so reading these pastimes and remembering Lord Nrsingadev and Prahlad Maharaj, we can remember that we're always protected by the Lord, right? We're dedicated to being devotees, and no matter how good or bad we're doing at that, Krishna protects us. Krishna's going to protect us. Because so many people in the world, how many of them become interested in Krishna consciousness, right? But we were the lucky ones that causeless mercy came upon us. And now we've got a chance to execute devotional service, just like Prahlad was doing. So Prahlad's example is really amazing. And it's like a wonderful goal for all of us to imagine that we could be as Krishna conscious, as devotionally minded, a pure devotee, the way Prahlad was. And then all of the things that are bugging us in our life right now, they won't matter. We know Krishna will protect us, and we can deal with the material world. Whatever the material world throws at us, we know that we'll be protected. So Prahlad Maharaj says that in an earlier text we read that he learned this from his spiritual master, right? And Prabhupada says that one who has fallen in the dark well of bodily consciousness and householder life should give up his position and go to the forest, practice Krishna consciousness, and take shelter of Lord Shri Krishna. What is the forest referring to here? Vrindavan, right. You go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Krishna. This is where the bhaktas go to have concentrated time thinking of Krishna, performing devotional service. Where else besides Vrindavan can you go and get that same atmosphere? Right here. We're sitting in Vrindavan. And so we don't have to give up our grihastha ashram. In fact, for most of us, that's the proper ashram to be in, right? To have a family, to have a wife, to have a husband, whatever you need. If you have those desires in your life, you should get a family situation. And then you will find that Krishna gives you things, and you go through things in such a way you can become detached from it. It's really amazing, So it's a wonderful ashram. It's the ashram for most of us, right? And it is just as good as sannyas ashram or brahmachari ashram, if that is what your nature is, and you need to be in that ashram. Not everyone needs to be in grihastha ashram. Some can be in sannyas, brahmachari, and those persons have overcome the need. They've overcome attraction to the opposite sex. And so for them, that ashram is appropriate. But for all of us, the Gita says that even a grihastha fully engaged in Krishna consciousness should be considered like a sannyasi under extreme austerities. Because it is very austere to go out, have a job, take care of your family. Whatever you're doing day to day, family matters are always difficult. And it's really wonderful, though, isn't it, how it's a learning experience. You learn from your mistakes. So we've got Vrindavan. We've got the Association of the Devotees. We've got the Srimad Bhagavatam. All we have to do is start taking it more and more advantage of it. Reading, chanting, getting up early, practicing Krishna consciousness. And what you find after a short time, or even after a long time, it does begin to change you. It does have an effect on you. And it's not a futile effort to say, well, who could ever be as advanced as Srila Prabhupada? That's true, but our duty is to try to become advanced. Not to be Srila Prabhupada, but to try and follow in his footsteps. And Srila Prabhupada is such a loving father and loving grandfather. Whenever you read his purports, whenever you hear him speak, his language, it's just full of love. It's full of Krishna consciousness. It's full of juicy, juice to help you understand what you need to be Krishna consciousness. I love to watch the remembrances from Srila Prabhupada's disciples. They're wonderful. There's so much love there, and you really get the essence of Srila Prabhupada. You get the essence of a pure devotee who really came down from the topmost platform, the Uttama platform, right, to Madhyam platform, to preach, to be among us, and to give this Krishna consciousness very freely. And so the importance of guru is there. We need guru. Prahlad learned from his spiritual master. And we need to learn from our spiritual masters, right? Srila Prabhupada is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for the whole movement. Everyone gets Prabhupada for Shiksha Guru, and we're all learning from him. But it is important to have a Diksha Guru, right? To get plugged in. You get a formal relationship, you get plugged into the Guru Parampara, and then the mercy can flow even more. Specifically looking at text 41, Prahlad was always, constantly, fully engaged in the thought of Krishna, Govinda. Govinda, one who gives pleasure to the senses and the cows. So Prahlad was getting full satisfaction to his senses by thinking of Govinda. And that's what Govinda means, one who gives pleasure to the senses. So this is our goal. This is what we want to do. He was always hearing, speaking about, thinking about Krishna. And when you do that, that's called devotional service. And when you try to do devotional service, when you do devotional service, you are always protected by Krishna, right? And literally here, we're seeing a situation where a devotee of Krishna was placed in a situation that has really no compare, right? 5 years old, and his father's trying to kill him. His father happens to be Hiranyakashipu, the emperor of the whole universe. He's just defeated all the demigods. He's defeated all the material armies of the whole universe. And he sees Prahlad sitting in front of him. And he's trying to kill Prahlad. He's trying to have his servants kill. He can't kill Prahlad. He's been defeated. And Hiranyakashipu knows it. His little son has defeated him. And he's in great anxiety about that. Because why does he hate Prahlad so much? Right. Prahlad worships Krishna, Vishnu, and who killed, or who did Vishnu kill that was related to Hiranyakashipu? Hiranyaksha, his brother. Everybody knows this story, right? Hiranyakashipu had a brother. Oh my God, there were two of them. Hiranyaksha. And Hiranyaksha was killed by Lord Varahadev, right? Krishna's incarnation as a boar, The The world had fallen into the bottom of the material of the universe. It was stuck in the muck, right? The mud of the at the bottom of there's a causal ocean and it's gone into water and sunk to the bottom. What's the perfect creature for getting in the mud and rooting something out? The boar, right? And so Krishna appears as this beautiful boar incarnation, and he saves the earth planet and he sets it back in his spot, right? And then he has to battle Hiranyaksha, and he kills Hiranyaksha. So Hiranyakashipu's mother, they're very upset with Vishnu. They've killed our brother. They just see things through material eyes, and they think that they can defeat Krishna, Vishnu. They think one day Hiranyakashipu, all this tapasya he does to get power, to take over the universe, it's all for one thing. He just wants to kill Vishnu, right? And Prabhupada points out, you can't kill Vishnu. First of all, he's entirely aloof. He is the creator of the material energy. He's transcendent. But that's the level of illusion that we can fall into. We can really think, oh, I can have this effect on the world. I can change this world. There's leaders now who think, I will take over. I will be in charge. I can control things. They can't even control their toothaches, head colds. You know, it's a matter of seeing this pastime is so wonderful for how Krishna really is in control. I mean, there's really no demon. I mean, Krishna kills some demons, right, in Vrindavan when he's a little baby, but there's really no demon like Hiranyakashipu. I don't know that we have any that's, you know, Ravana was pretty bad. Ravana was pretty strong. And Hiranyakashipu, though, keep trying to kill his son, you know. So we know what's going to happen, right? They've tried to kill Prahlad. They've done all these horrible things. And he can't be killed. So, you know, Hiranyakashipu knows pretty quick, you know, something's going on here. Something's here. And eventually he's going to become so angry, he's going to confront Prahlad and try to kill him himself and have a dialogue with Prahlad. Is your Vishnu everywhere? He's going to, maybe, he wants a fight, right? And is Krishna ready to give him a fight? Oh, yeah. Krishna's in the pillar, right? That Hiranyakashipu is going to strike. He's going to say, is your Vishnu everywhere? Prahlad said, of course. He says, is he in this pillar? Yes. So Hiranyakashipu takes his sword, he smashes it into the pillar. Before that happens, Lord Nrsingadev burst out of the pillar. He burst out, and for like hundreds of miles, everything was destroyed, right, in the path of what came out. And the roar was heard in the whole universe. It shook the whole universe, the roar. And Prahlad knew he was in there. It's said Prahlad could see him smiling. He could see that Lord Nrsingadev ready to come out. And then, of course, after he comes out, Lord Nrsingadev was so angry. He was so mad. He was just terrifying. The demigods couldn't even look at him. And so he battles Hiranyakashipu. He kills him. Of course, he kills him in that special way. Then he defeats the army of Hiranyakashipu. And then he's sitting on Hiranyakashipu's throne. There's blood and the entrails all over. He's still so angry. And the demigods are fearful. No one can go up to him. And so they send Prahlad, right? Here, let's send Prahlad. He's only 5 years old. So what happens? Prahlad gets up there, and Lord Nrsingadev is appeased, and he licks Prahlad, right? Like a lion does to its cub, right? It shows its affection. So is this just like a fantastic story? Is it something that like that could never happen to us? No, I don't think so. I personally feel the Lord's protection all the time. And sometimes Srila Prabhupada said that when you feel especially scared or that you need protection, you're in a very difficult situation, you can pray to Lord Nrsingadev. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj pointed out, this is interesting. He didn't say pray to Krishna. He said pray to Lord Nrsingadev. So it's very interesting. And so we know that Lord Krishna and Lord Nrsingadev are non-different, right? Lord Nrsingadev is an avatar. He's an incarnation, a plenary expansion of the Godhead who came for a pastime. And that pastime is really important for us because it shows us what we need to learn within devotional service about how Krishna will protect us. And so we want to pursue Krishna consciousness the way Prahlad did. We know that Lord Nrsingadev, that Krishna, that devotees, Guru, the holy name will protect us. They're all there to protect us. Those were some of my thoughts. Does anybody else have any realizations or comments or something that especially struck you about this? We've got some time, we can discuss it, or I can read another section. But this is what happens when you, for all of y'all, everybody in here, as you've heard this, as you've heard the Bhagavatam, things might have occurred to you, right? Special things. If you share those with others, it's beneficial to us. Because I thought about a couple things reading this, right? But everybody here will have special realizations that are different. And when we share those, it makes it even better. Because I have so much to learn. And just real quick, I wanted to say this too before we started. I neglected to say it. I feel so grateful to be here with all of you, each and every one of you, because every devotee is so special and so rare, right? How many, there's what is there, like 5 billion, 6 billion people on the planet? 8 billion already, wow. And it's how many of them really become interested, get a chance to do this. We're so fortunate. So, comment, question?
Haribo, thank you for the class. I'm grateful that you gave it. You brought a lot of life to the pastime. One point that I was thinking of, I don't know how to describe its significance, but I feel it's significant that even Lakshmi was scared to approach Nrsingadev. All the demigods and even his own consort, his wife, Lakshmi Devi, was scared. She brought Prahlad up. She's like, Prahlad.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. You know, he's so angry, and when you get angry, what happens? You get hot. You get heated up. Fire starts around Lord Nrsingadev. When the one devotee, Dhruva, went on a pilgrimage to Ahovalam, and he was going to the temples in Ahovalam and seeing the images, the deities of Lord Nrsingadev, and through some sections of the forest, it was on fire. And he said the Lord had just come through there. And so it lights little fires, and as the Lord goes by, he's still angry. Lord Nrsingadev is still angry at Hiranyakashipu. Yes, Prabhu.
The couple different things. Now that you mentioned the fire, when the devotees had the wonderful sculptist manifest Lord Nrsingadev in Mayapur, when he was done, he took a little break and went somewhere and his friend came back, or somebody relative came back and said, hey, the barn where you're keeping Lord Nrsingadev is burning on fire. The whole thing is burnt down. So he called the devotees and said, please hurry, come and get Lord Nrsingadev. He's already here. He's burning things up already. So, but Prabhupada was saying, like you were saying about all the different demigods were offering different prayers to Lord Nrsingadev, Lakshmi, everybody was there. And nobody could pacify Lord Nrsingadev. So then Lord Brahma, this is in Prabhupada's class that I happened to be in Mayapur in 1976.
Jai.
And it's beautiful, you can listen to all those classes. And he said it was something like sending a small child into the cage with a lion. He said when Lord Brahma I sent Prahlad Maharaj to go to Nrsingadev, he was so angry, it was like sending a little child into the cage of a lion. But of course Lord Nrsingadev was in love with Prahlad and came just for Prahlad. But the other point I was going to make is that Mahatmanas tu mam parta daivim prakritimashvitaha, that the Mahatmas, or those who are actually absorbed in pure devotional service, are no longer on the bodily platform. They're not at all connected with the material energy, even though they may be in a material body. So we can see Prahlad Maharaj's level of advancement. So Prabhupada would always warn when he gave these classes, don't try to imitate Prahlad Maharaj. He's a Mahabhagavat.
Yeah.
And we also saw that Srila Prabhupada was similarly tolerant, and only could be that tolerant because he was not on the bodily platform, because he was absorbed in pure devotional service. Otherwise, how could he exist coming to America, heart attacks on the boat, living in the Bowery, homeless, preaching to all kinds of insane people, and pushing himself to establish this movement in such a way that required unlimited amounts of tolerance and patience and compassion. So Prahlad Maharaj, he had so much compassion that he felt sorry for the fools and rascals of this material world. So in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, Vasudev Dutt was considered the incarnation of Prahlad, and he begged Lord Chaitanya that he said, all living beings in the universe, he said, I want to take all of their karma so they can be delivered from the cycle of birth and death and go back home, back to God. And Lord Chaitanya said, well, he said, Krishna will fulfill your desire because he fulfills all the desires of the devotees, but he won't allow you to take the karma of all the living beings. But we can see that when the Guru accepts a disciple, that Prabhupada explained that when he would be suffering, that it was due to the bad activities of his disciples. So we have to appreciate the incredible sacrifice that the spiritual master takes by accepting us fallen souls somehow or other out of his causeless mercy to try and engage us in devotional service. And I just did my reading last night, and I'm doing the first canto of the Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada explained this verse where just by rendering service you get causeless knowledge and detachment.
Ooh.
And so it made me reflect on Prabhupada's mission and giving us his mission, that when we engage in deity worship, when we engage in our preaching mission, engage in the service of this mission, immediately we realize that we're servants of the Lord in the sense that we're engaging in this mission, so that knowledge becomes manifest just by doing this service. When you're up there addressing Gaur-Nitai, you can't think of anything other than you're the insignificant servant of Gaur-Nitai, right? Mm-hmm. And that you're spiritual master. So it's automatically, the service puts us in contact with real knowledge. Mm-hmm. And then the activity itself replaces the material activities of sense gratification, because we're doing something with our senses in connection with the Lord. And so this mission that Prabhupada established is the perfect vehicle for us to actually become full of knowledge and full of detachment, because it gives us full service in the mission of the Lord. So it replaces sense gratification, because it gives us, we're busy doing our service, and it puts us in the mood of understanding the knowledge that we are the servants. So that was my big realization last night, hearing that verse. So Prahlad was obviously always absorbed in the service of the Lord.
That's huge. Thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. And when you were saying that, I was really thinking about it in terms of the St. Patrick's Day parade. You know, I went out there and I just carried a sign. That's about all I did. But it was unbelievable how purifying it was. And all the things that you said really manifest that day for me real specially. I'm a little bit, what's the word, overly familiar, you know. I get to do my deity worship and I feel what you're saying, but I don't always feel it as much like when you go out and you try to preach on the streets, do Harinam or Sankirtan or book distribution. Boy, you really get it then, right? What you were saying really powerfully, you know, comes in. So thanks for sharing that. That's really an incredible realization about how the energies are working, right? The spiritual energy, the material energy. The spiritual energy is going to overwhelm the material energy, right? Every time. But we keep not letting it happen, right? At least me, I'll speak for myself. The more open we are to it, the spiritual energy is ready to help us unlimitedly, right? And if we do that, in watching the memories of Srila Prabhupada, you get a sense. Prabhupada was never not Krishna consciousness. There was never a time he said, I'm just going to be in Maya and read a magazine or watch a movie or something. He was never like that. And it's just amazing that we as sadhakas, we can start to see how you put so many things together, and pretty soon that's it. You're just Krishna conscious. And it's more pleasurable than any material thoughts you could have, right? Thank you, Prabhu. Sorry to try and paraphrase that badly, but it was such a nice realization.
Here I am, you know, with my health issues, and I'm totally miserable. I'm getting up every day, getting ready for weeks in advance for the parade, because there's so many little things you got to get ready to do it, you know. And I'm getting up, and I have to rest every few hours, and I'm totally in anxiety, just trying to make sure I get everything done, because there's a huge amount of stuff to get done, and people, and this and that, and prasadam, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, finally we're sitting in the truck, and I was watching you carry the sign, and you had that hat on, and I was like, Dharma looks like the perfect transcendental Irishman out here. He really looked classic. I was like, wow, Dharma's perfect for this job. He looks like a complete Irishman. And he's holding the Maha Mantra, and all these insane people on the street are chanting with us. That was sweet.
Thanks, bro.
Anyway, then I realized, I was like, wow, I was all in anxiety and suffering, and now I'll look at it. Now it's like this whole transcendental experience. It was completely worth it, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was so amazing. So we have to undergo this tapasya of preaching, getting ready for the preaching, getting ready, then finally doing it. And that tapasya is the mercy of us being able to completely absorb ourselves in that service. And just like Prabhupada, when he was pushing the devotees in Bombay, and pushing the devotees in Vrindavan, and pushing the devotees in Mayapur to build these properties, they're getting ripped off, they're getting cheated by the lawyers, they're giving up even, and Prabhupada has to come to the rescue 3 different times in Bombay to reestablish the whole purchase. And everybody's like, Prabhupada, I can't even chant my rounds properly. I'm always thinking about the building materials and getting ripped off by these people and this and this and this. And Prabhupada was like, yes. He said Arjuna didn't sit on the chariot and meditate on Krishna. He killed everybody for Krishna. He wasn't just doing some passive meditation. He was killing everybody. So that was his service to Krishna. So our preaching service is like that. We get to do so much, be in so much anxiety and preparation, and that's absorption and service. So the more we do that, then the more advancement we make, Prabhupada said.
John. I think every year it gets better at that parade, you know, because at least for me, maybe even more realization this year than I've had in a long time, that people are seeing us enjoying something. They see us happy, smiling faces because we're chanting the holy name, we're trying to give out, we're doing devotional service, give out love and prasad, and they're like, we're here with our intoxications and we're trying to have our fun. They're not really enjoying themselves. And they see us and it's like, oh wow, they're really having fun, you know. So that's going to be the beginnings for some souls. They're going to see, oh, that's where the real pleasure is.
Prabhu, I actually have a question based on, you know, some of the comments that were shared and actually the translation to the verse. Prabhu, if it's okay, you could just scroll up. The first sentence here, it says, even though a person who has no assets in pious activities performs some good deed, it will have no result. So I'm just a little bit not sure how to understand this statement. And here we are as, you know, like devotees trying to share the good fortune that somehow by some causeless mercy we received. And then here we see statement by Hiranyakashipu saying that they will not have any result. How do we understand this statement?
Well, you got to remember Hiranyakashipu is speaking here, right? And so he's I believe we were in the that's the part where Hiranyakashipu was speaking, right? And no? Not this part. Okay. So we have, even though a person who has no assets in pious activities performs some good deed, it will have no result. Yeah, this one, I struggled with this when I was reading it to prepare for the lecture. And then when I read it this morning, it was just like clear as day. It's like, wow, that's what it meant. And I think it came through the purport. Prahlad Maharaj was constantly and fully engaged in thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it is said, Govinda Parihabhita. Prahlad Maharaj engaged himself always in meditation, and thus he was always protected by Govinda, just as a small child on the lap of his father or mother is fully protected. A devotee in all conditions is protected by the Supreme Lord. Someone who's a demon, even if they're trying to do something good, most of the time it doesn't turn out right, right? Would you agree, Prabhu? Is that what that?
Good. Idea of good and bad. So they create their own religions, and so their good is relative to their own outlook produced from the modes of ignorance and passion. So the example there is that even if somebody performs something pious, the example was that the weapons didn't have any effect.
Right.
So that was the analogy. So yeah, people that are ignorant in ignorance, in the mode of ignorance, trying to do something so-called good, it doesn't really elevate them out of the mode of ignorance, so to speak, you know. It just, their perception is so bad that even their good is bad. And even if it was good, it only produces some kind of reaction. So it's within the material energy there's also no good qualities, because we're completely covered by the material energy, and we've lost our independence as spirit souls by being completely covered by the material energy. So our good qualities, Yasasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Kinshana Prabhupada quotes that verse, that even the best qualities in the material world are bad qualities, because they're only mundane qualities. They're not actual spiritual qualities.
We have to get to Shuddha Sattva, total, pure goodness. Not just even goodness, but pure goodness. Was that good, Prabhu? Good reply? Are you clear?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you really have to understand it in terms of the weapons not having an effect on Prahlad. Yeah. Thank you.
I think also what Prabhu said, that the demons, because they're in the mode of ignorance, they try to do something good, but it really doesn't have effect. I think that kind of related to the statements in the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna tells about the behavior and qualities of the demons, and one of the things they think, Ishvaroham aham bhogi siddhoham balavan sukhi, I'm perfect, powerful and happy. So I think this is, now it resonates. Thank you, Prabhu.
Did you have a question? I just wanted to mention a few things. One, when Chaitanya Prabhu was sharing what Prabhupada said, reminded me of I was watching Tamal Krishna Maharaj speak about some memories of Srila Prabhupada, and when Prabhupada first established the GBC, Tamal Krishna Maharaj kind of raised his hand to be the GBC for India. And he says, like not really having no idea what it meant to be a GBC and what it would mean to manage India, but he just knew Prabhupada was going to be in India for the majority of the time, so he wanted to be as close as he could be to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada ended up spending, and it worked out, he was like 8 months a year in India. So, in that sense, it worked out well. But he was traveling with Srila Prabhupada, and the whole party was Srila Prabhupada, sannyasis, and Tamal Krishna, I guess he was Das at the time, hadn't taken sannyas yet. And so he was trying to manage and do things, but every time he would go, he would ask, they would say, oh no, I'm a sannyasi, I'm studying the books. Oh no, I'm a sannyasi, I'm learning harmonium. Like, they had their sannyas duties to do, so they didn't want to do any of the practical stuff that Tamal Krishna was trying to manage. And so he was just like at his wit's end. After like months of this, he couldn't get anything done. Nobody would help him. So he went to Prabhupada, and he said he was crying actually. He was just so like overwhelmed with what he was doing. And he was telling Prabhupada, nobody will help me. I'm asking everybody and I can't get anything done. And he said Prabhupada actually started laughing. He's like in tears crying, and Prabhupada started laughing. And Prabhupada said, this is very good, that you're struggling like this to serve. And it was just, so it just reminded me of what you were saying, what Prabhupada said. I just wanted to mention two things. I feel like it's so nice we're going through these pastimes of Lord Nrsingadev, and Draupadi and company are working on a wonderful Nrsingadev play for us. May 10th and 11th, and Drishta, and yeah, the whole clan. So yeah, just make sure everybody marks their calendar, spread the word. May 10th and 11th, Nrsingadev play. And then also, I was thinking it was, Chaitanya Chandraprabhu reads every night on Facebook, right? They can find it on Facebook. He goes live every night, and now he's going through Srimad Bhagavatam first canto. So if you are looking for something in your evenings and want some kind of, inspiration, association like that, want to study Prabhupada's books, and you can participate in that on Facebook. So I just wanted to mention that for everybody. And lastly, just it's so wonderful. You were mentioning the morning program, to be together with you all, and it really, I was thinking about, Prabhupada uses the analogy of like the proof is in the tasting, I believe. Prabhupada says that. And it's just so true. When you really try it, when you really give it your all, this process of Krishna consciousness works. And it was just this morning, all of the devotees chanting and dancing together. It's so enlivening and so inspiring, and to be together to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam like this. So I'm just very grateful to you all for being here, and just hoping, I was thinking I should have mentioned it after Guru Puja, but let's tell a friend how nice it was to be together this morning for the morning program, and let's bring them tomorrow or next week or whenever we make it back, and let's continue doing this together all the way back to Godhead.
Can I just add something to the story?
Please.
when Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, my god brothers, they're sannyasis, they're not doing any service, they're just being, they're learning harmonium, they're chanting. He said, and he was crying. Prabhupada said, this is just like Arjuna on the chariot with Krishna. Arjuna was in the same situation. He didn't want to, he was, how can I do this? And Arjuna was crying too. So very interesting. Yeah, thank you so much for that comment. I wanted to say something else, but I forgot. But, 15 devotees were here for Mangalarti this morning. 15. Yeah, it was crowded. Everybody was uptight, up close. Any more comment, question? Anybody else? Real quick? Quick one? Yeah.
I just found out that my daughter-in-law, Diana Primaras, is in labor right now. And we're asking for your prayers. Thank you so much. She's in Alachua, Florida, and this is Veerbhadraram's wife.
Number
Thank
3?
you so much.
This is number 3.
Number 3. Thank you so much.
Increase the devotee population.
Yeah,
Jai.
Krishna, Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Dear Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji, if you so desire, please allow this wonderful devotee to be brought into the world nice and healthy so she can be a wonderful servant of Srila Prabhupada and spread, or we don't know if it's a boy or a girl, this wonderful child can be a servant of Srila Prabhupada and help to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the world. Haribol. And also just want to welcome Brihat Mridanga Prabhu, who just arrived from Austin. Let's give a Haribol. Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, assembled devotees ki.